Hey everybody, this is Mark from supplyhouse.com and we are live for Sharkbite week with Sharkbite. Today I have with me Joe Screnchy and Mark Kleinhens, and we're basically going to answer any questions that you have on the Sharkbite brand. So right now we're going to start off. I just wanted to ask you, Mark, if you could tell everybody sort of what you do for Sharkbite, with Sharkbite, and maybe how you got started in the business.
Sure, Mark. I'm the Northeast Regional Sales Manager, been in plumbing for over 20 years, going on 7 years with Reliance Worldwide, makers of Sharkbite. Our current CEO has a great way of talking about Sharkbite, saying that it's a once-in-a-lifetime product, and I tend to agree with that. It's been a lot of fun, and look forward to tonight.
Great. And Joe, how did you sort of get started in the business? I know trainers like yourself.
I was a union plumber. I've been in the plumbing industry about 10 years now, and 2.5 years with Sharkbite. Got out of the trade, body injuries, so now I'm just using the skills that I learned and moving the Sharkbite product.
Great.
Educating people as best we can.
Cool. So I will let everybody know that we are having a contest. So if you leave a question in the comments, you will be automatically entered to win this Sharkbite starter kit that we have here. And also we have a number of Sharkbite hats. Mark is actually modeling it tonight. So all you got to do is leave a question for the guys and you'll be automatically entered. But we're going to start out right now. Joe, if you want to just jump right in.
Okay, Sharkbite. For most people who don't know, Sharkbite is a plumbing push-to-connect fitting that works with copper, CPVC, and PEX. No tools, no glues needed. Very simple installation. Cut your pipe straight, deburr the edge using our depth deburr tool. Make a mark on the fitting. Insert the fitting to the stop. Your seal connection's done. To remove the fitting, use a C-clip here, press against the release collar to remove the fitting by pulling, or you could use a removal tong and remove the fitting. Fittings can be reused multiple times. However, if you are going to use a fitting over again, do not use it as a permanent installation.
Great. Now, a lot of the questions we get, it's sort of, I feel the same way. It's almost like too good to be true. That how can this possibly be? But what about like code compliance?
Well, the product's certified for with all third-party listings, IATMO, UPC, CUPC. It's a lead-free product, NSF 61. It's a ASSE 1061, which is the standard for push-to-connect fittings. Being lead-free is also part of our components of quality, with Sharkbite fittings having DZR brass, which is dezinkification resistant brass, extremely high quality EPDM O-ring, which makes the water seal, and our 316 stainless grab ring, which actually makes the connection, the bite onto the pipe that prevents it from coming off. So those components really make up for the quality of which people have known as a Sharkbite fitting. The certifications were certified for use for behind wall without access panel, and also certified for underground. Now underground, we recommend and highly recommend wrapping the fitting with a silicone tape. Silicone is a chloride-free, glue-free tape, self-sealing. Wrap the fitting about 20 mil and complete 20 mil to cover the brass. What that does is protects the fitting from any of the contaminants in the backfill. Still maintains that 25-year warranty. The other thing too is Sharkbite is used for potable water systems and also for heating systems with a 200 degree Fahrenheit temperature range and up to 200 pounds per square inch.
And did you mention a warranty or?
25 years.
Okay. So, Mark, let's see here. Clayton Morgan wanted to know if it can be used for airlines, Sharkbite fittings.
We're not certified for airlines.
Okay.
So fitting is certified for potable water and hydronic systems.
Okay. Now I know we talked earlier about the big fittings, the 2XL.
Yeah, this is our 2XL fitting. Our universal Sharkbite fitting, which is up to 1 inch, but our 2XL, which has a little different removal feature, It's 1.25 inch, 1.5 inch, and 2 inch. This is our 2-inch ball valve. The big difference is in the removal of the fitting. If needed to be removed, we have the special tool, goes around the lugs on the fitting, quarter turn, and you're able to remove the fitting, remove the fitting, the pipe from the fitting.
Great.
What it does is, there's an internal release mechanism. Instead of having the external release collar on the universal, this internal release collar is kind of like a safety feature that no one can just come by and take that fitting off with that size of a line. Great for your commercial and industrial applications.
Ralphie Phillips says Sharkbite are lifesavers, but wanted to know how long they last until the fitting gives out.
We haven't had any fittings give out. If once installed properly, by prepping the pipe properly, taking the burrs off, marking the pipe for proper insertion depth, the fitting is guaranteed for 25 years.
Right.
So you want the depth in the burring.
So we have the diptych burr tool, can make your cut straight, deburr the edge. With copper, I always recommend reaming the copper pipe, make the mark, insert your fitting, so there's no burrs, insert it all the way into the pipe. Now, if you're using copper, if you're using PEX, the stiffener must be kept in with PEX. The stiffener, which is a PEX stiffener, maintains the rigidity around the PEX pipe, around the O-ring and the stainless steel grab ring. No need to remove it for copper or CPVC. Leave the fitting in, no issues at all. It does not affect any of the water flow at all.
So you mentioned copper and CPVC there. So one of the great things about Sharkbite that we found is that its versatility. So maybe can you talk a little bit about that, about the different pipes it can connect to? And
Well, as a copper tube size fitting, copper, CPVC, and PEX are all copper tube size, as well as we're certified for PERT pipe, polyethylene raised temperature, and high density polyethylene, SDR9, which you might find in your water service applications, which we do see a lot of applications with our 2XL fitting, going from maybe 1.25 inch, 1.5 inch down to 1 inch water services.
More depth and breadth, more SKUs, a range of applications that are really practical solutions. So, I mean, we pride ourselves on being the leader within the category. We've got more stuff, and really what excites me every day is the opportunity to get in front of contractors and show them things they've never seen before. So, again, that's who we are.
great.
For the service plumber, it's a great fitting to have on their truck. If they're in applications where they can't use flame, they don't have the time for glue to dry, Sharkbite fitting, immediate connection, immediate testing. They could carry one fitting on the truck and be able to cover all 3 types of pipe, which they'll usually find in the field.
Right.
If they do come across, say, irrigation systems, we have a new fitting. It's a PVC fitting to your copper, PEX, or CPVC. So PVC being an IPS pipe size, it's a large outside diameter, has a different removal tool. But again, a great transition fitting for any application. Irrigation is one of the big ones that we see it used on.
In the past, that's sort of been a difficult connection to make.
Yes.
Multiple fittings to get
Right.
there. So
So
now
now it makes it
you just
easy.
Yeah, great.
The other thing too is, speaking about the pipes, the polybutylene, which is one of the older piping systems that's no longer in the field, but we do have a transition fitting for making those repairs, usually on mobile homes and some of the older homes, depending on different parts of the country. You do find that polybutylene piping that you could cut it off, use a Sharkbite fitting, and convert from your polybutylene to your copper, CPVC, or PEX.
Great. Jesse Green asks if the warranty covers damage from its leaking, if it leaked, but
Reliance Worldwide Corporation, who's the parent company of Sharkbite and Cash Acme, we stand behind our product. And again, it's all part of proper pipe preparation, following the manufacturer's instructions. If there is an issue, contact customer service, and they'll be happy to look at the issue. But again, everything comes down to following the manufacturer's instructions, falling within the certifications and standard in your manufacturer specifications.
Right.
200 degrees Fahrenheit and 200 psi on pressure.
So where do you see the big benefits for Sharkbite fittings for contractors? Now, you wouldn't maybe do an entire house with Sharkbite fittings. You wouldn't do new construction, but where do you see the benefits, especially over soldering?
In several areas.
Yeah.
first of all, in a lot of construction and service work right now, you walking into, say, a hospital, a doctor's office, a school, you can't use flame. So they have different options, whether it's having to use tools, with Sharkbite being tool-free. So that smaller serviceman could actually make the same repairs as a larger contractor who has bought the tools, invested in that investment, but with very little investment, could make the same repairs using with no tools. So again, they're able to service any type of plumbing that's in residential or commercial applications, copper, CPVC, or PEX, all within 200 degrees Fahrenheit, 200 pounds per square inch pressure, which is all well within residential service, and it's just endless what they could do.
It's about speed, it's about convenience, it's about being able to do more in a given day just by virtue of the fact that you've got a product that lends itself for that. So,
Yeah. So what do you say to the guys that, let's say, it's sort of taking maybe the skill out of it, or it's letting anybody become a plumber?
As a plumber,
Yeah.
You're still a trained professional, and you know what can happen if something were to go wrong before where they're making their repair. Also, again, it's about proper pipe preparation. That's key, that most of your homeowners may not know about. So for the licensed plumber, you're a professional. You're a licensed professional. Keep that profession. You're going to do the job properly. You're paying for your experience, your insurance on your business, that you're guaranteeing that work. Use the fitting properly, and you're going to be able to make satisfied customers, but also keep the trade strong. I totally believe in the plumbing trade, and being a plumber, I look at this, it's a great tool for your toolbox. As far as there's other technologies out there, it's just another tool in your toolbox to get the job done. I've been told it's the Friday night fix or the Saturday night save. To get that call out at 11 o'clock at night, you can make the repair and go, even if you wanted to go back the next day and make a copper connection, or take more time to, say, sweat a connection on near a heating system. They want to make it, by the request of the customer, a copper connection. They can still use as a temporary fitting, get the customer back up and running, and go back the next day.
And they would go back the next day and
They could do a solder joint or
Okay.
CPVC glue, but at least they have that customer out having mostly, say, a heating job or a water leak in a small amount of time, and they have their hot water again, or they have their heat again, and they could go back scheduled at a time during normal business hours.
Got it. So, but it can be a permanent fix?
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a temporary fitting. It's a permanent connection, permanent fix. A lot of temporary uses are for caps. People use the caps as temporary during construction or remodeling, but permanent connection. It's a permanent repair with a 25-year warranty.
Now, you mentioned a little bit about pipe preparation being very important. You showed us that you need to sort of ream the copper pipe, deburr. Is there any preparation you need to make with PEX or CPVC?
Just cut the pipe square. Make sure there's no burrs. Use the proper tools.
Yeah.
CPVC, use the proper tool. If you're using a hacksaw or a reciprocating saw for any of the piping, you're going to have leaf burrs, you're going to have a rough edge. Take the time as the professional to file that end down and make sure there's no burrs, which could actually tear the O-ring and create a leak in the future.
Patrick O'Brien asked if you will be coming out with a 45-degree fitting.
I believe we are. Also, some street 90s or street 45s, because they're one thing with Sharkbite. You have to have at least about an inch in between fittings. So having to make a smaller connection, those fittings will be coming out. We're looking at new fittings. So we do get a lot of feedback from the contractors and plumbers in the field about what they see out there and what they could use, and that would definitely help with installing your more solid pipe, copper and CPVC. With
Mark, to Joe's point, the stuff on this table really wasn't invented by us, but really comes from the feedback and the input we get from the contractors that use it. So I think we listen pretty good.
Yeah.
That's why we have the most within the category, and we'll continue to roll out new products that are really practical for the contractors to use.
One of the key fittings that people do not know about, the slip repair couplings, slip ball valves. To me, in our market, I'm the regional trainer from the Northeast, and we have a lot of copper in our area. I think this is probably one of the best ball valves to have on a work truck, as a repair truck. It's able to make a slip coupling. You cut a couple inches out, you're able to slide the pipe on and move it into place. There's no internal stiffener, which tells us that the fitting is only good for copper or CPVC.
Right.
Great repair coupling, great to have as an emergency repair. There's other fittings too that came out from the field.
Yeah.
A check valve, half, 3/4, 1 inch spring check valves. Guys don't know that we have it when they see it. It's like
2 psi cracking pressure.
Right, and great for hydronic systems.
Okay. Now, one thing that sort of just hit me is, I guess you're fixing a leak, maybe in a small crawl space. You don't want to be firing up a torch in there. So I guess the benefits there too, like if you can't fit your tools in there, or
Exactly.
it's dangerous.
No one wants to really to be crawling under in a crawl space with dragging a B tank and a hose and to light up a flame in a tight confined space.
Right.
And you're finding more and more businesses, schools, apartments that they now require flame-free repair service. So your service plumbers really have to have the options available to them that they can make those repairs. Sharkbite really fits that niche for them.
You started to talk about some of the extra fittings that you have. Is there, there's some interesting ones on there.
Yeah, this is a drop air 90, great for your shower remodels, for your shower heads. Also, angle stops, straight stops. Now, a great feature of this is a lot easier than a compression fitting, but also this little feature here that we have at the end looks like a little trim cap, and not many people know what it is, but it actually is it's a trim piece, but also protects the end. If the fittings angle stops up against a wall or an escutcheon plate, and someone were to clean under the cabinet to push something in, it could actually press against the release mechanism, could pop off. This will actually protect that against any type of accidental release. And also, they could turn the piece around, and if they had to, remove the fitting. So.
Great. Jesse Green asked if Sharkbite is going to produce fittings in IPS.
Well,
We do have
a transition fitting there.
transition
Okay.
for your PVC, Schedule 40, Schedule 80, 120, to your copper CPVC packs,
Okay.
up to 1 inch.
Okay. Teresa asks if it helps to add a small amount of silicone grease to the copper pipe to help the seal with Sharkbite fittings.
The Sharkbite fittings are manufactured with the O-ring is lubricated.
Okay.
And again, that's one of the things when people reuse the fittings, that the O-ring may may dry out, but that's over repeated usage. But a brand new fitting has no problem. It's always pre-lubricated with a silicone type lubricant for ease of installation.
We like to say cut, push, and done.
Right.
And it's as simple as that, right,
Right.
Joe?
So actually, you mentioned the O-ring. Let's talk a little bit about the O-ring, because I know that a lot of people are skeptical of that, or just in general skeptical of connections with O-rings.
Well, O-rings are used in multiple industries, aeronautics or automobiles. Our O-ring is a high quality EPDM O-ring, and the key to that is having chloramine and chlorine resistance. Our O-ring exceeds both European and US standards against chloramine deterioration. So again, a high quality O-ring will ensure that we have a 25-year warranty.
Ed McGovern says, quote, I like Sharkbite fittings for tight spots and quick repairs, but I can never get the disconnect tools to work. Are there any tricks to it? So I know there's a few different versions.
Yeah, I mean, the clip is one. Just make sure that clip is against it, and sometimes you may have to use, depending on how much space you have, but that's one of the things that it's hard to get off, which is a good thing.
Right.
You don't really want it to really blow off. So again, compress that release collar so it's really pressed against the fitting, and then slide the fitting off.
Okay.
And if you're using the
Well, that sounds to
tongs.
me a perfect application for the tongs, which,
again, exactly.
really allow for
Again, if you're in
use in tight
In a
spots.
tight spot, just have to make sure that that release mechanism, the release collar is pressed up against there, and just slide it down. It may require two hands. It's not an easy thing to take off. So if they really As some people say, well, they just blow off. They really don't just blow off.
Yeah, that's
Proper
when I'd
installation.
say do yourself a favor and buy a set of the release tongs, because that's really going to make usage that much easier.
And that's one of the keys is using the deburr depth tool to make sure you have that mark on the fitting, because in a tight spot, the fitting could be on the pipe and it's not coming off.
Right.
Mark, give that a pull.
If you can't do it, I can't, Joe.
But as you can see, that there's the insertion depth. Now the fittings, now it's on all the way.
Right.
So visual indication that the fitting's on properly. Basically, prior manufacturer instructions
Got it.
guaranteeing that 25-year warranty on the fitting.
So you need to use the depth
deburr
tool for the warranty.
definitely recommended.
Okay. Now, what about? Do you have any cool examples of where Sharkbite has helped out, or
We have a great story that we did at a nuclear power plant in California, and they had a problem with their piping, and we ended up using 1.5" 2XLs to make the refitting. When people say that it can't be done on a commercial or industrial application, and nuclear power plant is pretty much an industrial application, and that was over 2.5 years ago. And since then, they're using everything from 1/2" to 2" ball valves on their trucks, just in case something happens. They can make an emergency repair in a short period of time.
so Daryl Butch Holloway asks if there's any maintenance that needs to be done later on after installation.
Oh, it's cut, push, done.
That's right, Daryl.
Earlier today, you mentioned fake bites and other sort of different versions of push fit. What do you know? Is there any difference between Sharkbite and other push fittings?
Yeah, I mean, Sharkbite is as we say, like the Kleenex of the industry. The first one to come out. It's been almost in the market 20 years now. And again, it's all quality components. Brass being dezinkification resistant brass, the high quality EPDM O-ring, the 316 stainless grab ring, the glass reinforced PEX stiffener. All those components really add up to a quality fitting. And there's different grades of DZR brass. There's different grades of stainless steel. There's different grades of EPDM. So as different manufacturers may say they have those same components, it's all in the quality. And through our testing, we continually exceed all our standards and also the industry standards as far as quality in all those different areas.
Mark, everything that you see here, we control from start to finish. So the entire process is ours.
Right.
We understand we live in a world where we don't get too many second chances.
Mm-hmm.
So every fitting that we make, the next one is the same. The trust we have and we've built and we've earned in the marketplace is second to none. There are others out there, but they wouldn't be used in my house. And we stand behind our product better than anybody else. We make more of it. There's only one choice. It's Sharkbite.
Right. So Chad Littner asks if there's anything that you shouldn't use Sharkbite for as it relates to residential plumbing.
There are some piping systems that we are not certified for. One would be PEX aluminum PEX, which plumbers may try to use that on the Sharkbite fitting on that type of PEX, which you might find in certain areas. Other types of poly pipe that are not copper tube sized, they've maybe tried to use that on that, will not work on that. So again, following our specifications, you could always check online at sharkbite.com to find our list of certifications where you would find the ASTM standards for copper, CPVC PEX, prick pipe, and high density polyethylene, and just make sure that you're following those standards on the fitting, and you'll have no problem with usage, certifications, and also for the inspectors as well.
Let's talk a little bit. We talked about disconnecting them and why would we disconnect them to possibly reuse them, right? So let's talk about the reusability of some of these fittings.
The most common ones that are being reused are the caps, and everyone uses a cap. Even caps with a 2-inch can be reused. So, but again, if you're going to have a couple fittings that you are going to reuse, use them as your temporary fittings. Do not use them as a permanent installation. Get a brand new fitting, make that repair, and leave it at that.
Is there a max amount of times, or?
If you take care of the fitting, if you take care of the pipe, I would say maybe 5 or 6 times. I'd be comfortable with it. especially if you're in an area where you're doing some finish work, you don't want to really risk having a fitting that's been knocked around your toolbox for a couple months, used it a dozen or 2 times. If it's in a basement, maybe, but I'd go with 5 or 6 times myself and feel comfortable with that.
And this kind of logic goes with any kind of connection system.
Exactly.
Yeah. Scott Ray asks if it can be used in automotive applications for emergency repairs.
I haven't heard anything like that. If there's copper tube sides in an automotive application,
Sure.
copper manifolds maybe, or exhaust.
Right.
Let's hope not when we're driving home tonight, right?
What about Shark Tech Academy? Is there like a contractor rewards program or anything like that?
We do have contractor rewards.
Yeah, we do have a contractor reward program, which, again, rewards any contractor for their purchase. It's really easy for them to really click a picture and forward it to it for processing, and they can redeem a range of things that, from golf clubs to televisions to grills, you name it. So yeah, we do have a program to build additional loyalty with our end user.
Great.
And through Shark Tech Academy, our online videos, the people that self-paced learning videos, they'll accumulate blue vote points and to get other prizes, other types of rewards as well. So you can always check out sharktechacademy.com, look at the training videos we have online.
Yeah, and the fact that you guys have this Shark Tech Academy, you want to be there for the contractors, you want to help them with whatever they need. You guys are all over the place, right?
Yeah, we're throughout the country. My general areas, again, from Virginia up to Maine.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of what we do is get out there and work with the contractors, answering questions, get with the plumbing associations, get in front of them, talking about the product, the certifications, get in front of inspector groups. I'll talk to inspectors. Inspectors don't always know with all the latest things come out. So a lot of questions that I hear back from out of the field, I usually go back to the inspector themselves and discuss with them, and then get a chance to get in front of the whole group and give them the training and understanding the whole product line and the certifications that we have, as well as get to the technical schools. I've gone into the Votex, the younger plumbers coming into the trade, and giving them exposure to the new technology and helping them with some projects. We also go into the unions as well, the union halls, and set up some wet labs to get them, again, it's understanding the technology. The plumbing's changing, it's always changing. It's over the past 100 years, went from copper to copper sweat, CPVC with glues. Now you have tools, and now you have tool free. So knowing that technology is, and it's another tool in your toolbox. You want to do a good job, you want to be professional, but you need to know and do things properly. Education's key.
Now you mentioned inspectors. Where are they with this whole thing? Obviously they're in the know, but
For the most part, inspectors, knowing ahead of time when a product's coming into the field, they appreciate the fact that we're taking the time to go talk to them, educate them on the certifications, and knowing proper manufacturers' installation instructions gives them the knowledge that it's not just a temporary fitting, it's not just a do-it-yourselfer, it's a professional fitting to be used as a permanent connection, for use for behind wall without access panel, for use for underground, for the 200 degrees Fahrenheit, for the 200 PSI. Knowing all those things and just getting in front of those inspectors and telling them when they go into the field and see that fitting in a repair,
Mm-hmm.
that they know about the fitting, they know the certifications, they know that the product has been tested and installed properly. It's really important for us to get to the inspectors and talk to them so they understand all those parameters for the fitting use.
great. So to the guys that think it's not going to pass inspection, it will.
It will.
Yeah, it's all, part of the process, kind of out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
And really,
Right.
there's no one within the industry that we're really not getting in front of and not telling our story.
Right.
They could always write into sharkbite.com, Shark Tech Academy, request a training, get questions answered, and if it needs to be in a certain area, we'll send myself or one of our other trainers out to the the city or the town and to go talk to the inspector and give them the the knowledge and answer their questions and face to face. And that really helps a lot to know that there are people in the field that we care about the trade. And I think that shows a lot about Reliance Worldwide Corporation with Sharkbite.
Yep.
And then we're not just here to overnight, we're here to, in the long run, as a plumbing solution.
Honestly, Mark, I think, in a funny way,
Yeah.
maybe the most challenging calls are the most rewarding ones.
Right.
And, with our product, we may not always hear yes, but honestly, it's got application, throughout, the plumbing market, and we love to get out in front of them and show them exactly what we have.
Yeah.
Some of the again, rewarding times is getting in front of a bunch of inspectors and they're saying, they bailed me out.
I didn't know you had that.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't know it could do this. I mean, that's really
A lot of time, all it takes is that one time that they have to rely on a Sharkbite fitting, and it gets them out of that jam. And it's from that point on, you've earned their trust. And
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that the nuclear power plant. What was the issue? Was one of their
well, actually, their plant's been running desalinated water since the inception of the plant, so 25, 30 years. So
Right.
pure water basically eats copper from the inside out.
right?
Their pipes have pinhole leaks, major leaks everywhere, and it's becoming a nuisance. So they've been slowly converting a lot of their piping from copper to PEX, but there are areas where they can't get in a tooled solution, or they're not allowed to use flame.
Mm-hmm.
So it really falls down to a couple different options: either shut down a whole building and take the time, and they really can't afford to shut down anything. So
Right.
they're running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's when our fittings came in a perfect application. And for them, it's assurance that they can make any repair at any time and without having any shutdown time.
Great. So I just wanted to remind everybody that for anybody that asks a question in this video, where you're going to be entered into a contest to win this Sharkbite sort of starter set, and also a couple of hats. And I also wanted to remind everybody that since it's Sharkbite week here at Supply House, we're doing a 7% off sale for all of our Sharkbite fittings on our website.
great.
But I wonder if you could sort of talk a little bit about maybe the beginning of this concept, or where they came from, and maybe you mentioned the story. You want to get your story out. What is that story?
Well, we've been doing this here in the United States since 2004. We're rooted in Australia, where they do nothing but Sharkbite and PEX. We've been growing at an incredible clip year over year, and it really is a result of the commitment we've made to the category, the amount of products we have, the story we can tell, and the ability that we have every day to get in front of a new contractor and show them new items that really solve problems and really are practical solutions for them. So it's a lot of fun, and like I said, it's really a once-in-a-lifetime product that gets me up every day and doing what I'm doing.
Great. Michael Morrison, to get back to the questions, Michael Morrison wanted to know, how well do these fittings hold up in colder climates? Will they fail before a copper fitting in a scenario where the heat goes out at home?
It's been a great fitting in the colder climates. Pipes freeze. It makes a great. The slip fittings work really well, and we see a lot of. Actually, our sales really do spike during a cold snap. But if the way I look at it, if you have a freezing problem, it's really hard to say whether a fitting's going to freeze or not. No fitting is freeze-proof. If you have a freeze problem, you have a freeze problem. You don't have
Right.
a fitting problem.
Right.
I've heard good and bad about maybe fittings opening up, expanding, but that all depends where that freeze problem is. If it's on a low spot, something's going to give.
Right.
You're not going to stop Mother Nature.
What about the size range? What's the size range you have?
Sharkbite ranges from quarter inch to 1 inch with basically our universal Sharkbite fitting, and above 1 inch we go to 2XL, which is this type of fitting.
Yep.
1.25 inch, 1.5 and 2 inch with a full range. Back to that gentleman's question earlier about the 45 street 45s. We have 45s in this fitting as well. So again, more commercial applications where they're going to just use larger diameter pipe that's not going to have the flexibility of smaller diameter pipe. Even with this fitting, 2-inch PEX, we have copper inserts as well for your copper, for your plastic, your PEX pipe.
Mm-hmm.
So again, on this size, even if you're using PEX, you need to have an insert in there as well, just sold separately.
Correct. So Bill O'Mara says, please talk to my inspectors.
Tell us where they are, Bill.
Yeah.
Come out there and talk to them.
Is there a way that people can contact you? Maybe you said the website or?
Yeah, you can talk to the website. You can send me an email.
Okay.
joe.screnchy@rwc.com.
Okay.
Whether myself or someone of our other team members will get out there and get in talk to the inspector.
Great. Jim Clark wants to know what you see as your best seller for a fitting or a valve. What's the one fitting or valve that's your best seller?
Well, the 1/2 and 3/4 inch couplings, real core item, elbows, tees. We have again, caps.
For the plumbers that say they don't use Sharkbite fittings, they all use caps, a coupling. So I haven't met one that does not use a Sharkbite fitting, some form of it.
Yeah, I mean, the real, I guess the treasure below the surface is not only the stuff that we've got that you'd consider core, but really all the special fittings that we've got that most don't think we make available.
Is there any that we missed going over?
Well, the technology has, Reliance Worldwide Corporation also is the parent company of Cash Acme Valves.
Mm-hmm.
We've actually began incorporating the Sharkbite push-to-connect technology onto our thermostatic mixing valves. So a plumber could walk in, we need to replace a TMV, and be able to be able to use copper, CPVC, or PEX. So it's one valve to carry on their truck and be able to service 3 types of different plumbing systems, piping systems. PRVs, we have a PRV here that actually is a slip function as well. To replace it, you could actually not have to really dismantle your whole plumbing system that's coming in. This slip feature will enable the plumber to make that the repair. It's a serviceable pressure reducing valve as well. So the technology that we have is really it's grown in covering all our lines.
Integrating it more into some of the traditional products we have, and that slip feature makes it really user friendly. So again, that's kind of the feedback that we get and getting more of as we continue to grow. Hey, we like your stuff. It's really easy for us to use. Again, cut, push, and done.
Right. Doug Rorick asked, how long will the O-rings last on hot water applications? He said, great product. We use them all the time with hot water recirculating lines that spring pinhole leaks. But his question was, how long will the O-rings last on hot water applications?
Again, our fitting, our O-ring has been tested with the 140 degree temperature, 100% chloramine water, and to no failure. Again, it's the quality of the O-ring that really stands out and gives that the 25-year warranty.
Chris Costa says, Joe's a great guy. He has spoken at my Plumbing Inspector Association. So we've got a fan.
Thanks, Chris.
Adam Stockton asks, what are your thoughts on installing these under a slab?
It can. I don't know if if you can do underground, I would definitely wrap the fitting. It's certified for that. I would feel comfortable doing it myself. It just depends. Then again, you might have an inspector who may not want an open connection like that.
Okay.
But it's approved for that. It's approved for underground application. So there's really no issues at all.
So you mentioned the wrapping. You have to, obviously.
Yes, you want to protect the fitting from any of the backfill, any potential contaminants in the backfill.
Okay.
Keeping that
Which
away
we
from the
can't
grass.
control.
You can't control, right.
So it's a way of just making sure that, it's trouble-free.
Chris Holden asks if if you have problems with glycol applications or higher temperature applications.
The fitting is certified up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit and for hydronic systems with 100% glycol concentration.
Okay.
So perfect for your hydronic radiant heating. Even we're seeing use now in even geothermal systems.
Are there any, Edwin Andujar asks if there's any plans to get into the gas industry with fittings.
You never know.
Yeah. We have nothing right now for that application.
Okay. Now, what about using these in heating applications?
Perfectly fine. Again, the fitting's rated for 200 degrees Fahrenheit, 100% glycol concentration.
It's kind of preaching to the choir on
Yeah,
that one, right?
yeah.
Yeah, we're both Northeastern guys,
Right.
so that's a big piece of what we do. And
The some of the feedback I'll hear from plumbers is that they first initially didn't trust that fitting for that application, and then they had no choice and go back 3-4 years later and they never had a problem, and it saves them. It's a lifesaver for these guys. It's like they said, it's a Friday night fix or Saturday night save. They're going out there and being able to make that. What gives a plumber more satisfaction? We do it, of course, for and to support our families, but to make that customer, give that customer heat again in the middle of winter.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're really looking to do, and to get that back in no time, you can't put a price on that really. And that's what a lot of plumbers are really beginning to understand, is that they can have that quick fix, that it's going to be a permanent connection, but also you're going to build that customer for life.
Right.
To get them, giving them heat in their family, and that's the greatest thing you could really ask for. And that's what's happening with Sharkbite in our New England area. The heating application is more and more plumbers I talk to are relying on it for making those fixes.
Great. Now, what about the sort of and maybe this is where you got the name, but the little bites inside.
The grab ring?
The grab ring that holds the fittings
The
on.
Sharkbite.
Yes, the actual Sharkbite. What are those made of? Like, how does it hold the?
It's a three. I can think of it as a Chinese finger game. As it pulls out, the teeth are actually pointed inward, so when it grabs the pipe, you're not going to pull it out. But the grab ring is made of 3/16 stainless, highly anti-corrosive. The strength in any type of environment, whether it's hard water or even in the near an ocean, saltwater environments, those teeth are going to stay strong, and that's what's really holding the pipe, and it's resisting all the pressure. Our fittings are tested up to. We test our PEX pipe over 900 pounds per square inch of pressure, and the PEX is blowing before the fitting releases. So,
right.
And I've seen the fittings being tested at 1,100 pounds of pressure, and the fitting still stays on. The pipe is just bursting. So those teeth are a big part of the product line, a part of the product, as well as the O-ring.
I mentioned before, we did a test a couple years ago in our warehouse where we lifted 420 pounds of actual weight with the fittings and the copper pipe it held. And you mentioned earlier that somebody lifted a car, possibly?
yeah, there was a promo up in New York State where they did lift a car with a 2-inch coupling, and I've got the pictures, and still shocked that was
Right.
that was done. But it does underscore the strength of the fitting and the components we use. Again, it's a part of what's made the fitting the most trusted within the category. And again, we take a lot of pride and don't cut any corners as far as the cost and the components that go into it, because it has to work.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
And again, and that all falls back on proper installation. Proper pipe installation is making sure that pipe is cut square, that it's clean, there's no debris on it when it's inserted the fitting. If you have cutting a soldered joint, make sure there's no solder on the end of the pipe. Mark the pipe, put the fitting all the way, and you're golden.
So speaking of that, actually, Jim Clark asks, what's the biggest thing plumbers do that voids the warranty?
Not deburring the pipe would be one. Okay. Not marking the pipe. An inspector asked me about, if you were an inspector and you wanted to see a Sharkbite fitting on a repair, and if you didn't see a mark, what would you do? I'd say, well, I'd be honest. I said I would have to really not pass it or question that fitting, that connection, because how do I know that's not all the way in? Mm-hmm. And that's what that visual indication is. Part of our manufacturer instructions. That's the most important part. Make a mark on that pipe that you know that it's installed all the way. It's real easy to, in the open, to put a fitting on and as an example and show as a demonstration. But if you're in a tight area, you really need to, make that mark so you have that visual indication that that fitting's on all the way.
Great. Michael Morrison asks, how about use in chiller systems?
Refrigeration.
Yeah.
No, we're not
Not
there yet.
Okay. And also similar, what about the drain game? Mickey Roberts asks, like 1.5 inch or 1 1/4 inch traps.
You could use, the PVC fitting.
Yep.
I know guys that are using it for condensate. You're able to take it apart and clean it, which makes it real convenient.
Oh, yeah.
We go up to 1 inch on PVC. As far as you could use it in any application. It's as long as you're connecting to copper tube size piping. The sky's the limit of what you could do with it. Cost becomes a factor though.
Right. Chris Holden says that ProPress O-rings are good for 40% glycol. What is your O-ring made of that makes a difference?
It's our, that's what Reliance Worldwide did when we
Oh.
brought the market up. When we put the product onto the market in 1999,
Okay.
they engineered it for 100% glycol concentration, and we've never had a problem since.
Wow, great. Are there any plans for making a Sharkbite zone valve? Pat Scherer asks.
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that
No.
I'm aware of.
Okay.
We have come out with our radiant heating
Some
system.
manifold systems.
So
Yeah.
So that's new for us. So I think as time goes on, again, we'll see the applications, we'll get the feedback from the field. I know I've been asked that question as well for zone valves for radiant heat and hydronic heating, and it makes sense. So
Right.
just a matter of time.
Right. Cool. So I would say, to close us out, what would you say to the skeptics? And I know there are still some skeptics out there. I see the comments. I still don't trust it. What is your? You must get this a lot. So,
Yeah.
What is it that you say to them?
It's with any new technology, it's going to take time to trust the product. But as a plumber, as a licensed plumber, you do things properly. You follow your proper procedures with everything you do. And I continue to say this, and I'll talk specifically of copper. That's, I think, where you're going to have your most problems by not cutting it cleanly. You're going to have the copper will damage the O-ring, if not deburred. Ream your pipe. It's part of the standard.
Mm-hmm.
Mark the pipe. It's part of our instructions. Insert the fitting all the way. He's probably using a cap. If he's trusting a cap to hold pressure, why not? You put a coupling on someplace. Where is it going to go?
Right.
There's O-rings used in everything, in all types of industries. We have the quality, we have the testing for it, we have the certifications for it. Eventually, you're going to try it, and you'll build trust, and it just takes time. A lot of times in our area, it's winning a plumber, one plumber at a time.
Right.
That's all it is.
And the good thing, as you said, is you guys are very open to communication.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these guys haven't talked to you or haven't seen you. They just sort of know about
Reach
this
out to
thing.
us for a training. If he's a contractor who wants a service contractor, we'll come in for training. We'll provide some products. Give it a try, and if you don't like it, give us a call.
Right.
We'll see what we can do.
Mark, I'm sure somebody probably said that a long time ago about the first sweat fitting.
Sure.
Technology is changing everything. It's changing it. We wouldn't be here doing this with you. There's no reason not to use that. It works. It's growing every year. We're adding more products. We're offering more solutions. The future's bright, and we're really
Excited.
happy to be a part of it.
Great. All right, so we have the winner for our Sharkbite starter kit. If you could read that name there.
Jim Clark,
So
congratulations.
Jim Clark is the winner. We will be giving away also a number of hats. We're just going to reach out to...
Not mine, though.
Not your hat, no. We're going to reach out to everybody that won the hats tomorrow, and we'll get all that stuff out to you. If you have any more questions, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for
Mark.
the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Thanks.
Have a good night.